Drop shot, you hear about it all the time. You've probably tried a little bit and had a little bit of success, but you know you can catch more. You can be better at it. So let's talk about that. Let's get into the advanced tactics. I've been using drop shot since before it became popular. Like way back, like when it first came from Japan. Nobody had heard about it in the States yet. I've been using it that long and I've had a lot of time to refine it. So the key thing with drop shotting, where a lot of guys fall short on, is it's about the equipment. It really is about the equipment. When it comes to this technique, you've got to be geared up correctly or you're going to diminish your success rate. So it starts with the rod. It's a spinning rod. Get used to it, guys. If you don't like spinning, you got to use spinning rods. And if you don't like spinning because, oh, the line tangles, blah, 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 go to this video right here. It'll show you how to use spinning tackle properly. I never get line twist. I don't have wind knots. I have no problem with using spinning tackle. And I reveal all my tips and tricks and secrets in that video. It tells you exactly how to use it. You won't have any more troubles, I promise you, if you follow the tricks and tips in that video. So, spinning gear. You want to use a medium light power fast action rod. 7 foot, 7'1". That's the staple. That works well for a lot of finesse tactics, by the way, but it works especially well with a drop shot. The reel, the gear ratio doesn't matter. You're not looking for a fast speed anyway. What matters is the drag. So you want to gear, usually a size 2500 reel with a smooth drag. Smooth drag typically to me is if it's a reel that has 15 pound or greater drag strength, because it's a real smooth drag then, because that's what is important. Because when you have that fish on the end of the line, when he tugs and pulls and surges, if that drag needs to kick in, when it does, you want it to give the way it's supposed to. Line. This is critical. 6 pound fluorocarbon line. You gotta have that. I'm telling you guys, I used to use 10 pound line, I went to 8 pound, and I'm absolutely confident I get way more bites with 6 pound than I do with 8 or 10. I've gone through the dip. I actually started with 12, to be honest with you. And each time I dropped down, I got more bites. And I know I get more bites on 6 pound than I will on 8 or 10. And some pros I know use 5 pound. And there's one pro I know uses 4 pound. Okay, and they're the ones making the bucks using this technique. So light line is critical. Fluorocarbon line is critical. Fluorocarbon does a number of things. First of all, it's not very visible under the water. You're using the slow technique. Fish have a chance to examine it. So braid, it's opaque. Fish can see it. So all fluorocarbon, no braid deleter, nothing like that. It's straight up all fluorocarbon for me. Fluorocarbon sinks. Your bait is going to be more natural with 6 pound line and with neutral buoyancy or sinking buoyancy line. And that's exactly what fluorocarbon does. Your bait looks natural, normal, swims like it's alive and behaves like it's alive. Braid is buoyant. Braid's going to lift it up, and it's going to cause if you lift up on the bait and move it, it's going to go at an angle like this, where if you're using fluorocarbon, it's going to do this. Okay, it's just a subtle difference, but that's the difference between getting bit and not getting bit sometimes. Fluorocarbon also is more abrasion resistant than braid, especially in rocky areas. Braid will tear up, whereas fluorocarbon is, I mean, it's not impervious. You have to keep checking your line when you're fishing on jagged rocks, but it's going to last longer than braid. And then finally, fluorocarbon has stretch. And that's what you want. You're fishing light hooks, using a size 1/0 hook, Gamakatsu drop shot hook. You put a lot of pressure on it and you're apt to rip that hook out of the fish's mouth. So fluorocarbon's got some give to it, your rod's got some give to it, and your drag has some give to it. And when you're fighting that fish and he surges, all that's going to work in concert to keep the fish pinned. The fish can't use that as leverage to rip the hook out. So that's important. And then what length should you use? That's up to debate. A lot of people don't know. Typically, a starting point is 18 to 24 inches. That usually, 80% of the time works for you. You don't really need to go more than that. When do I adjust it? If the bite is really slow, like in the wintertime, or deep dog days of summer, when the bass just aren't biting very much, that's when I go a longer length. I'll go to, 2.5 to 3 foot length leader. That gets that bait up there, it's more visible. Or when I'm dragging, so I'm either letting the wind push the boat and I'm dragging along, or using the trolling motor, but now the line is at an angle like this, so the bait is actually closer to the bottom. So I'll use a longer leader then to get that bait up off the bottom. When I shorten it up is usually in the summer months when the fish are more active. When they're more aggressive and you're getting more bites, I will move it up to 12 inches to maybe even 10 inches. Shorter length then. Or if I'm fishing really shallow, yes, you can fish drop shot in shallow water. 15 inches of water, I've done that. And a shorter length is what you need when you're fishing really shallow. It works great for bed fishing, or when the bluegills are up on the bed and the bass are patrolling the weed perimeters around the bluegill beds. Shorter length is what you need because you're fishing shallow water. So that's when I change it from the normal 18 to 24 inches. The weight, critical. I use a cylindrical weight. Why? It doesn't get hung up as much. If you're fishing around rocks, you're going to get hung up a lot, especially if you're using the teardrop style drop shot weight. You're going to get hung up a lot. The cylindrical ones don't get hung up as much. It's got to be tungsten. Tungsten transmits a lot of vibration and you can really feel the bottom. This is a slow moving presentation. Drop shot is not used to cover a lot of water, guys. You're doing pinpoint specific areas, like a point, like a drop off, like a hump. Those are, a bed fish, a dock. You're not covering water with it. So you're working it slowly and you can feel like the difference between sand and pebble, and from pebble to chunk rock. You can feel that better with a tungsten weight. And I'm using a light one. I'm using 1/8 ounce, maybe a 3/16 ounce weight most of the time. Most of the time I'm using a real light, because this is a light presentation. The lighter weight allows that bait to move freely and you get more action out of it. I'll heavy up a little bit more when I'm fighting wind or when I'm fighting current. Then I'll use a 1/4 ounce, maybe 3/8 ounce weight, just because I need to maintain bottom contact. And you don't want, in current, you don't want the bait to go whing, disappear. So a little bit heavier weight, but you don't want to go too heavy, because you can get, the heavier you go, the easier it is for it to get stuck in the rocks. So it's a balancing act, but the lighter that you can go, the better, typically. So that's the key thing there. Now, one more thing about it. I cover this in the video that I mentioned earlier, but if you catch the fish and you're working him back and he starts to pull drag, let him pull drag. Don't reel. Don't reel against the drag. The only thing you're accomplishing there is introducing line twist, and a lot of it. You're causing a lot of heartache. It's self-induced. A lot of guys that have problems with line twist is because they reel when the drag is singing. Let the drag go. When the drag stops, then reel and catch up to the fish. If your drag's pulling too much, then you can tighten it down a little bit, but don't reel against the drag. Please don't. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard for me. It's causing all kinds of problems. So, baits to use. Typically, you're using like a 3-inch grub, like a 3-inch Kalin's grub, or you're using a straight tail worm, like a 4-inch robo worm or a magic worm from Missile Baits, or you're using a tube. Like, those are the 3 main baits that I use. You can also use a minnow style bait too. There's a lot of minnow style baits, small 3-inch minnow style baits. Some of you use a 3-inch Senko. That can work really well too. Just depends on the activity level of the fish. If they're really not active, then I use a tube and a 3-inch Senko, because those have like the minimal amount of movement of all the baits I just mentioned. And then moving up an activity level, go to that worm. It has more movement to it, and then the grub, which has a lot more movement to it. Color-wise, you can't go wrong with green pumpkin, watermelon with red seed, and a dark horse a lot of people don't throw is the smoke color, or smoke with pepper flake in it. Kalin's makes a great smoke and pepper flake grub. I use that a lot, but you can also, same with the worms, you can get in those colors. All the other baits I just mentioned, you can get in those 3 colors. Those are going to be your mainstay throughout the season. One exception is during the fall, for some reason, the bass like purple. I don't know why, but this morning dawn color, I think that's what it's called from Missile Baits, or it's from, I think maybe Robo Worm makes it. That purple color, they just, and Big Bite Baits makes it too. That's right, the cliffhanger worm. The bass just love that color in the fall. I don't know why, I can't explain it. But during the fall, I catch more fish on that color than any other color when I'm using a drop shot. So Keep that in mind. So with all those tips, now you can go out and be much more successful with a drop shot rig. Hope that helps. For more tips and tricks like this, visit bassresource.com.